Suzanne's Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry, 24/7 shopping available. 160920 is the code. Show her some love, like she showed us.
All right, hello and welcome to another edition of C2C Rank'em, brought to you by Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. I am the host, Big B, along with my co-host, the Prime Oos, over beyond the waters across the sea there. Tim Hendricks, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I've felt better, but I'm doing good. I think
Yeah,
this
yeah.
week.
Sorry we're coming a day late. I know I wasn't feeling the greatest yesterday. Had some colds and barely could speak, so pushed it off today, and we're still going to deliver a great show. So, as you guys know, for C2C Rank'em, we do exactly what that says. We rank different things, different categories. This week we're doing game boards, game shows, TV game show hosts, and our top favorite Family Feud funny moments or categories or favorite answers, I guess we could call it. So let's get into it. Tim, why don't we get into our favorite game boards? What's your number five?
My number five. I think we went board games and card games.
Yeah, I kind of thought we did the same. So yeah,
Okay, well then I don't feel so bad for my number five.
okay.
I I love this game. This game to me, I don't know what it is. My brother and I play this, and I found if you play against my brother in this game, he cheats. So if anybody ever plays Ryan Hendricks in spades, he cheats. Just so you know. But I love spades. To me, spades is probably one of the greatest card games. Which everybody's going to think, well, you did say poker, but no, spades to me, it's just so much fun.
How does he cheat in spades?
Oh my god, it's. I'll tell you, my brother knows how to set a deck. My brother learned how to play spades in the Marine Corps.
Oh,
He
okay.
he learned how to set a deck. He does something what's called monkey dealing. So he deals from the bottom of the deck. He'll deal from the middle of the deck, and he does it so fast you don't see it. He knows how to set a deck to where you can cut it, and it's crazy. And it's like I wish I could do that, but then uh, he and I have been in so many spades tournaments. It's ridiculous, and he has never been caught monkey dealing. He's never set a deck. He's never done anything. He will set a deck to where it doesn't look like he's cheating, but everybody else is. He'll. It's just strange. It's absolutely crazy to watch what he does.
Okay. Um, I never heard of that, but okay. Especially in spades, why would you cheat in spades? But anyways, my number five is also a card game. I'm going to go Uno, and I just like it. I know house rules are different. If some people will play where if you have the card or a wild, you have to play it, which I don't like. I typically take that rule out. So it could be cheated on my part, but if you don't want to play your wild, why? So but that's my number five. You're number four.
Um, you're from the Midwest. I'm originally from the Midwest. This is a card game, and if you're from the Midwest, I know my family plays this all the time. And if you don't play this, you're either a transplant or you're not really from the Midwest. But euchre, it's absolutely one of those games where you if you're from the Midwest, everybody in their family plays it. Um, my uncle Jimmy, my uncle Jimmy had a game on Fourth of July. He passed away back in December. Matter of fact, his wife passed away last week. Um,
Ooh.
they used to have an adult. They used to have an adult table at our family reunion on Fourth of July, and then it got to the point where we started to have a kids table. You couldn't play, and the sad thing is you couldn't play at the You couldn't play at the adults table until one of the adults had passed away. So, but yeah, and then the Lamb side of the family, which is my mom's side of the family, anybody could play. We played it on fishing trips out in the Gulf of Mexico. We played it, we played it just whenever, and it seems like it's a Midwest game. If you're from the Midwest, you played euchre, and I played in plenty of euchre tournaments too. And
Yeah.
my brother doesn't cheat in euchre.
Well, it's a little hard to cheat in euchre when you got only,
Yeah,
5 cards and it's only 10 through ace or 9 through ace, I think it
yeah.
is. Honestly, I'll be honest. I haven't played I did not play euchre until I met my current wife. So, but never knew the game. But no, it's a fun game, stressful game, especially if you got a good hand and your partner
Is an idiot.
bids ya. Yeah, yeah. So, um, yeah, no, that's a fun game, definitely. My number 4 game is the game of life. I know it's a simple game, but just going around and trying to, and I know they've dolled it up a little bit, so it makes it a little bit more challenging. But just going through, do I want to, venture through college, or do I just want to go straight to the workforce, or stuff like that? And then I know when I used to play with some people, we always, okay, how many cars are we going to fill up with kids and stuff? That was our goal, stuff like that. So I always like the game. And then when the dang wheel wouldn't spin, kind of lube it up with, some kind of soap or something to get it working good. So, yeah. So, game of life for me. So, Tim, you're number 3.
Wow. I honestly didn't think you'd put life on there,
Yeah.
which is why my number 3 is your number 4.
All right.
And to me, life was so fun.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And then we had it got to the point where you took Monopoly money. And then we started playing it with Monopoly money. So you were constantly getting paid. Oh my gosh, we were millionaires by the end of the game. Yeah, life. I mean, sometimes it was the best thing was just to spin a little spinner
Yeah.
to go. But yeah, to me, yeah, I did the same thing. We were trying to see if we could make Mormon families. With all the kids and all that. It was just crazy. Yeah, to me, life. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. My number 3 game is Battleship. I like that. I kind of try to strategize to where kind of line up 2 ships, so you kind of try to disguise like the little two shot ship so nobody can find it, and do different stuff like that. And so yeah, I enjoyed playing some Battleship. Your number 2 game, Tim.
My number 2, I actually played quite a bit since I've moved here. It's weird because they changed the name slightly, um, but especially with somebody who really likes murder mysteries like I do, it makes it a lot more fun. And it's crazy because they actually are really strict to the rules. They stick right to the rules. You have to be in the room. You have to be in the room that you're going to accuse somebody in. And I'm like, why? And they play it, and here they play it where they put the spare card in the pool room, in the center, and then you can take a look at it and put it back. But you had to go into the pool to look at the card, or that was one for some reason. It was always like you could go in there and that was the wild spot, so you could guess who murdered. For anybody who's figured it out yet, it's either Clue, and here in Italy they call it Cluedo.
Okay.
But yeah, they're strict to the rules here. Oh Lord, my family here, they run that thing right to the thing. And my youngest stepson, I swear to God, he'll murder somebody. He'll literally murder somebody if he misses something by a spot. It's
But
absolutely crazy.
it include general rules that once you get into a room, you can guess.
Yeah, but you got to be if you're going to guess,
You gotta be in that room.
you have to be in the room. You
Yeah.
have to guess that room.
Yep. Yeah.
And then you have to, but the thing is, and most of the time I've played it where if you want to guess, you don't have to be in that room.
Yeah, I play that way too, but most of the time I play where you got to be in that room.
Right, and that's
Yeah.
what they do here. You have, I mean, it's nuts,
Yeah.
and you have to.
Uh,
And the thing is, you ask everybody, and the funny thing is, if somebody says no, they got to show you the reason why it's no, and if and it's crazy. You go all the way around. Oh, it's
yeah, because what you could ask, you say you're guessing, you go, you pick out another player, and they show you a card that they have, and
right,
then if they don't have it, then you can take a shot at pulling out all three cards, or so
right.
yeah, so yeah, it'd be fun. That is a fun game. I actually kind of threw that one out, or not threw it out. Kind of forgot about that one, but yeah, that's definitely a fun game. And the movie actually is pretty funny too. Back,
Oh, they're redoing it. They're going to
are they?
redo it. Yeah, they're going to redo it. But you're right. The movie for Clue was brilliant because
Yeah,
Tim Curry was absolutely phenomenal in that movie.
yeah, exactly. So, my number two game is, my family now we play quite a bit. Is the game Sorry? You know, we got the newer version, which we kind of don't like too much, um, but yeah, no, the game Sorry. You just shuffle up a deck of cards and get one, and you move out. If two, you get to go again or something like that. So yeah, game of Sorry. Number one, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say we might have the same number one here.
We
So
might have the same number one.
all right, go ahead. Number one.
And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you a little backstory on my number one. I went to Atlantic City about, I want to say 2013, 2014. And if anybody knows this game quite well, this game is based on Atlantic City, the streets in Atlantic City. Um, I actually thought it. I didn't realize that until I actually pulled into Atlantic City and I see Pennsylvania Avenue, and it's green. It's white with a green little block on it, and the next one is North Carolina Avenue, and it's green. And every street in Atlantic City is a street that's in the game of Monopoly. Monopoly is one of those games that could probably, if they had it back in the time of the Hatfield and McCoys, is the reason why the Hatfield and the McCoys happened. Um, we all know that's not the reason, but I don't know how many times that is the marathon game of ages. I don't know how many people have gotten into fistfights because of Monopoly. I don't know how many families ended in divorce because of Monopoly. I don't know how many boards ended up upside down in Monopoly. How many family feuds have started because of Monopoly. But and to be honest, that game should have been called Sorry and not Monopoly. But yeah, my number one game is Monopoly.
Yeah, no doubt. It's one of those games that I can't stand playing, but I love playing it. And and to avoid all the drama and stuff, yeah, you got to put a time limit on it, or you shuffle. You do the shortcut game where you shuffle out the properties at first. Um, but yeah, that game could go on forever and ever and ever. We were playing it at work one night when I was doing overnight ballet at my current job, and we were playing it. And one guy offered me a heck of a deal where I traded him. I forgot what the property was, but it gave him his monopoly. But I also got half of his rent from all the other properties that he owns, and if I landed on them, I only had to pay half the rent. So it was a win-win for me. Of course, I ended up winning because
Yeah,
I every time somebody landed on his property, they pay rent, I get half. So that's the game too. That can be very boring if nobody's dealing. I mean,
right.
if everybody's just kind of sticking to their guns, and it can get really boring. But if people start wheeling and dealing, that game could be pretty interesting. Still frustrating, but yeah, a game that, I mean, unless you set a time limit, you're still playing from 2090 or 2000
I,
year. I mean,
the funny thing is, I might still actually be in a game from 2004. I'm not sure. It's just one of those games.
yeah. No, I totally get it. It's the never ending game. So, all right, some games you left out, Tim.
Um, Poker. I play enough poker to.
Yeah.
It's just I'm a poker guy.
Yep. As a matter of
Um,
fact, I got poker tonight. So yeah, I'm a poker guy too. I just, you know,
um, Checkers. I
checkers and chess I left off.
I love both of those games.
Yeah.
It's just, but the five that I put on, it was like this moment we brought this list up last week. It was like, yeah, I already know my five. I just need to
Yeah.
know what order I'm putting them in.
Yeah. And the thing is with like checker and chess, you got to find somebody that's willing to play with you.
Yeah,
And a lot of these other games, yeah, I'll play. Well, you want to play checker and chess? I don't know. And honestly, when it came to chess, people hated playing with me on chess or checkers because I didn't move my back row unless I needed to.
right.
And they're like, "Oh, you're cheating." I'm like, "No, I'm not. I'm just strategizing. Why move my back row? Or else I would like move my front couple rows, and then I would move my back row to kind of, step behind them. I wouldn't go all hog wild on it. So yeah.
Well, now everybody who watches this show knows how to beat you because you don't move.
Yeah. Well, nobody plays me anyways. So, what other games are out? There was another game that a friend of mine has. I couldn't remember it, but it was actually pretty fun. It's a group game, but you also play against like a computer, another invisible player. But it has to do with different like it's a pandemic game. So there's different viruses out there you're trying to break or capture or whatever.
Right.
And I wish I would have called him up to find out what the game was called, but yeah, you each, 4 or 5 people, you each have a different ability or job, and depending on where you're at, you can slow down the pandemic and stuff. And then the last turn, so if there's 5 of you playing, the sixth turn would be your ghost person who resets everything depending on where they're at. So yeah, I'll have to try to get the name, but it's actually a pretty fun game.
Oh.
You probably know what I'm talking about, but
No. Well, it sounds
Oh.
really, really good. They should make
Yeah.
that. They should make that as an app on a phone, and it'd be.
They probably do. They got all these apps on the phone. So I mean, there's Scrabble out there. I mean, I'm not much for spelling, but
I'm
that
not much for
game can
Scrabble.
take forever to. Trouble was another game I kind of had off the list. I mean, and try to move around and
Yeah, Pictionary.
Pictionary was a good one. I couldn't draw, so I liked it, but I mean, Trivial Pursuit was another game. I mean,
My wife, that's the funny thing is, my wife has already given me the hint for what she wants for Christmas next year. She
Yeah.
wants a Trivial Pursuit game. She really wants.
Really?
And one of the old ones from the 80s, the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
My mom and dad had them all. I mean, they had all.
Yeah, some of the games now, I mean, aren't like I mean, they're the same game, but it's like they modernized it. Like, we talk about Monopoly. Now it's all credit card based and all that stuff. I mean, it's just like, that's old school or new school. Old school's
Yeah.
better. All right, so let's get into our favorite TV game shows. I know there's a lot of lists or a lot of game shows around. I'm going to assume that you kind of went old school like me, but we'll see. You're number 5.
My number 5, if you were homesick from school, this is the only freaking game show that seemed to be on. And it bothered me because I love game shows. And I'll be honest, I haven't watched any of the Drew Carey ones, but the Bob Barker ones, to me it's classic. And to see, it's fun because I think we actually had somebody from Niagara that was actually on one of the episodes, and we actually stopped to watch the episode of Price is Right during class, and this is when I was in 4th grade, and it's strange, but yeah. And the funny thing is, when you learn about what happens on The Price is Right, it's kind of shady. You think about it, but yeah, to me, Price is Right. Price is Right's probably on your list. It's probably higher than mine, but yeah, Price is Right to me was
Yeah. No, good game show. Yeah. We'll get into it. It is on my list. So Number 5 for me was a staple. My time was 6:30, still is. Is Wheel of Fortune. We watched it yesterday. Tried to guess the puzzles. Now they got different puzzles or different, you know, combination of puzzles. It's kind of weird watching, but Pat Sajak and Vanna White, two staples. As a matter of fact, Price is Right. Vanna White was on Price is Right in her younger days before she became um, a celebrity on Wheel of Fortune. So, yeah, Wheel of Fortune, number 5. Number 4 for you.
Well, your number 5 is my number 4. To me, you're right. It's when you're getting ready for dinner. It was you're watching Price is Right, and my number 2 right after. But yeah, it's the version of the Price is Right, Wheel of Fortune that I liked is when you finish solving the puzzle, and then all of a sudden you could pick your prizes.
Oh, the old school. Yeah.
Old school.
Oh, I'll take the chair. I'll take the coffee maker.
I'll take the chair. Yeah. I'll take the love seat. I need
that was cool.
Good. Yeah. To me, that was fun. To me, it's like, okay, now they're just going to give you money. No. I liked it when you had to pick your prizes. And to me, I thought that was so cool because it got to the point where my brother and sister and I would sit there and play and go, no, I want that. I want the TV. Oh, that TV was, you got the money. And we'd sit there and play it and strategize to how you wanted it. But yeah, to me, Wheel of Fortune is legendary.
Yep. No, I definitely like that. Yeah, the old school way was really nice. To me, or my number 4, even the reboot is actually pretty interesting. You got a panel of, I think, 6 celebrities. You got the host, and they ask a question. You got to match who matches the most with the celebrities wins. It's match game, and I can't think of the first host, but the host now I think is Baldwin. But still, it was a staple. It had Betty White on there all the time. It had oh God, I can't think of the other ones. There were so many, but Betty White was a big staple on that one. So yeah, for me, match game. Number 3 for you.
Yeah, I don't have Match Game, but I loved Match Game. I watched Game Show Network. I used to watch Game Show Network just to watch Match Game, and I can't remember that guy's name either, but he was hilarious.
Yeah.
But my number 3, and this one is actually, I loved it before I found out there was a scandal on it where the guy took the game show for a huge amount of money.
Oh.
And yeah, you know exactly which one I'm talking about.
I think so.
And the guy figured it out. I think the guy was a mathematician and figured out if you stopped here, you landed on the
Gene Rayburn was the original host.
Yeah, Gene Rayburn.
Yeah.
And I think and the guy that does my show now, the show that I'm doing was Peter Tavarik, the game show host. But the guy figured it out how to, if you stopped here, the next spot was going to be big money in a spin. So this guy was ranking up spins and big money, and he was smoking the hell out of everybody. And this is where
it never aired.
No, it never finished. It aired. It just never finished it because the
guy. I thought it never aired. Okay.
The guy but they never finished it because the guy still had like 50 spins by the time the show was over. By the time within the period, but Press Your Luck. This is to me, it was so great because it was the first game show that actually used animation with the whammies. And to me, I love the whammies. The whammies were so much. And when they rebooted it, it was never the same. But Peter Tavarik and I absolutely loved Press Your Luck. And I think it came on right before Price is Right. Because Price was like Price is Right was it was like your 2-minute warning saying that next Goodness Beyond is going to be Young and the Restless and Bold and Beautiful and All My Children. So yeah, Press Your Luck. To me, I love Luck.
Yeah. Press Your Luck was good. I forgot those little animated whammy guys come out. And how many people probably wanted just to flick them or squash them because at the time they were rude and probably today's age it'd be offensive, but I've seen a few episodes of the new whammy or Price is Right or Press Your Luck. I think it's actually pretty funny. And
Yeah.
now they got the whammy people actually like talking to the person and saying their name and stuff. So,
Oh,
but no, that's still a good one. My number 3 is Family Feud. All of them. I like all generations, especially the Steve Harvey ones, are really getting to be very hilarious. Like I said, we'll get into some of our top 10 Family Feud questions coming up. But yeah, no, I mean, all the hosts. I mean, yeah, Louis Anderson was probably the worst one, but even over in London or Britain or somewhere, they had Family Feud, and that was
yeah.
actually pretty hilarious. But from Dawson all the way to Steve Harvey, all pretty funny. You're number 2.
My number 2 usually came on. I can't remember with you. I think it came on before Wheel of Fortune. For me, it came on after Wheel of Fortune.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, everybody knows that Alex Trebek passed away a couple years back.
Yep.
But I used to watch it with my grandfather all the time, my grandpa Hendrix, all the time, every time he had it on. But I honestly don't think he was paying attention because he had a hearing aid and he answered some really weird questions. And it was just like, are you even watching? Um, and I almost had an opportunity to go on Jeopardy. I got sick the day of the tryouts in Tampa.
Okay.
But yeah, to me, Jeopardy was one of those. Yeah, it's one of those. You get in a group of people and you start answering questions. People look at you like you have done it. Like they've never known you. They've never known you your entire life because you come up with answers that no, there should be no way you know that, and yet you
Yeah.
know it. But to me, it was Jeopardy.
Yeah, that's my number 2. Always watched it. I might have gotten 1 or 2 questions around right. I mean, like you said, I mean, some of the stuff, I mean, there's a great clip. They were doing sports, and I think it was uh, football related, and Alex would ask a question, and the guys didn't even know what it was. Like, what is this when a player does this in the game of football? Fair catch, of course, but they didn't know it. They named Minnesota Vikings defensive line from 1970 to 77 or whatever. Purple People Eater. They didn't know some of the stuff, and
Yeah, and you look
yeah,
at it
it was great. And Trebek's reaction is like, okay, you know. So yeah, that's definitely was and Jeopardy was my number 2, definitely. Your number 1, kind of interesting to hear this number 1 here.
it's a take. It's a kind of a take on Jeopardy. But when you put a monetary value to it as high as they did, and they put Regis Philbin, where like, are you crazy? Regis Philbin was one of those guys that didn't have a filter,
Yeah,
and literally, and he was like everybody's grandfather at the time when this show came out, and it was like, and to me, you put $1 million on a question, and it's like, and they give you 3 lifelines. I'm like, no, I'm like, Jeopardy, you can't get 1 million unless you sit there and you're on the show for 30 years.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, when I first watched Who Wants to Be Millionaire, I thought I could do that. I honestly could do that. And then we get to the questions where it's like $32,000, and it's like, I can't do this. I
yeah.
honestly can't do this. And yet you've got people who can't answer $100 question or a $200 question. It's
Yeah.
like, are you stupid? And and it's like, are you crazy? And I love it because I had the Who Wants to Be Millionaire app on my phone. I
Yep.
don't know how many times I hit the millions, but half the time it was guessing.
Yeah. Well, and the thing with that game show is they started off with what 8 contestants in the speed round,
Right.
and you had to answer the fast money question or whatever, and push in as fast as you can. So the best one I saw that I can't remember the guy's name. I think he was one of the first to win $1 million. He gets to the $1 million question. They ask it, and he's like, "Oh, I gotta call my dad." So they call his dad, and he's like, "Dad, I don't need no help. I just want to let you know I'm about to win $1 million." And then he ends up winning. Of course, I think it would have been more funny if he would have got the wrong answer. But
We got the wrong answer.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But my number 1, like Tim said, classic. When you're homesick, like today, my kid's home because of icy roads and stuff. So Price is Right, which starts in about a half hour here. So yeah, Price is Right, always a game. We're all trying to outbid each other, even when you're watching it. The one thing I don't understand with the game is, uh, everybody's will bid, and of course the person sometimes will bid the dollar over, but then some people will bid, will ask what the highest amount is and go above that and beyond. It's like, now why wouldn't you just stay at, if somebody bid $100 at something, go 101 instead of going 155, something like that.
Right.
But yeah, so but yeah, definitely Price is Right is, definitely a big classic game. Other games that you left off, I mean, I left off Pressure Luck. What other games have you left off?
I left off Joker's Wild.
Oh, that was a classic one.
That was fun. That was a lot of
Yeah.
fun. What else did I leave off?
There was Card Shark,
Card Sharks. I love Card Sharks. God, I don't know
the
how many times I
Pyramid.
Password.
Password was a good one too. Oh yeah, Password
Um,
was a classic one.
What other one? There's one that stuck in my head and it just went right out the door. It just um oh
There was
um,
Lingo, which Hollywood Squares
Lingo,
was another one I left
Blockbusters.
out.
The one Let's Make a Deal.
Oh yeah, Let's Make a Deal. Yeah, that was a good one too. I think it's a better remake right now with Wade Brady hosting it, but
Right.
still a classic game. So yeah, there's a lot of games we could choose from. So all right, so since we talked games, TV show games, let's talk about the host. Top five TV game show host. This one can be pretty interesting, depending on which way we win. So you're number five.
My number five, definitely one of the greatest of all times. Still doing it. Still. I did put Vanna White, but I did put Pat Sajak as my number five.
Yep. No, he was there. Number six, I think, would have been Pat Sajak. Um, but no, definitely, yeah, definitely one of the greatest to do it. I mean, he's did it for how long? I think, and honestly, I think it's another game show too where he's hosted every show except for maybe a handful of them.
Yeah, that's because I think he got sick.
Yeah. So my number five for me, Richard Dawson, Family Feud, just just classic. Got to kiss pretty much any girl they wanted. I mean, but some of the answers he had and stuff on Family Feud was just great. So you're number four.
My number four is your number five. Richard Dawson. To me, when I hear Family Feud, I heard Richard Dawson. That's to me, it was always that case. He's such the greatest smarmy game show host that they they actually cast him as a game show host on The Running Man for Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Okay.
The guy is the guy is the quintessential game show host. So yeah, to me, Richard Dawson is on the Mount Rushmore to me of game show hosts.
Yeah. My number four, the funny thing is when we brought this topic up, he was one of the first names that came into mind. But for honestly, I could not remember what game show he hosted. So I had to look it up. And Tic Tac Toe was the biggest one that he did. Wink Martindale. And I don't know if he's done anything else, but like I said, it was one of those weird ones. It's like trying to think. It's like, God, what game show did he do? And I'm just like,
He was he the one that was on the Newlywed Game?
no, it was I don't know. See that's what I thought too, but I couldn't no, it wasn't him. But we'll move on. But Wink Martindale.
Wink Martindale's now the defensive coordinator for the New York Giants.
Yeah. You're number three, Tim.
My number three is the game show host of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. To me, to Regis Philbin. I think Everything that he did seemed like he was meant to be a game show host, and I loved him on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Robert Ed Banks.
Robert
UBA.
Eubanks,
Yeah,
yeah, Robert Eubanks,
Eubanks. Yeah.
um, but yeah, Regis Philbin's my number 3.
Yeah, there's another. That's a host I definitely left off, and but him only doing one game show. I mean, for a short time. I know he was the original host, and then it went to the lady, and then it went to
Yeah,
I don't even know who's doing it now if they're even still doing it. Um,
uh,
but my
he did
number
it for a while
three.
with Cedric the Entertainer.
Oh, okay. My number 3. Chuck Woolery, Love Connection, and
Yeah, I forgot about him.
I'm trying to think of the other game. Lingo was one of his, but I mean, he always had that catchphrase: 2-2, be back in 2-2.
Yeah,
So, but that I don't know if I would even consider a game show, but it was a dating game show. I don't know, but it was always funny listening to the stories and what would you go out on another date with them and. You always hope that they said yes, but sometimes it's like, oh, really? No, they said no. What? So, yeah, but yeah, Chuck Woolery, you're number 2.
my number 2 is probably a lot of people's number 1. But there's a reason why I love Jeopardy, and it was because of Alex Trebek. Um, Good Canadian. Pat left us way too soon. I know he
Oh
was in
yeah,
his 70s, but still too soon. Um, but his reaction was like, and he had the same reaction with the high school players to the celebrities to the
yep.
super geniuses, and it was like he didn't discriminate. If you were an idiot, he made sure you knew it.
Oh yeah, if he gave it back, yeah,
Yeah, and to think about it, you got Will Ferrell who plays him on Saturday Night Live and plays him in the same
yeah,
deadpan way. It to me it was just brilliant. Yeah, yeah, Alex Trebek.
yeah. I have a feeling our 1 and 2 are going to be flip flopped here. Because my number 2 is Bob Barker. I mean, Price is Right. How can you not? And yes, I have him as my number 1, but my number 2, you know, Um, it's funny because my number 1 and number 2 in the game show ranking, I had Jeopardy number 1, Price is Right number 2, but Bob Barker definitely hilarious. Even when he acted in Happy Gilmore, still a funny guy. You'll see him show up on Price is Right once in a while with Drew Carey, but you can't say Price is Right without Bob Barker. I mean, he's got a whole studio named after him. So
Right.
you're number 1.
Price is wrong, Bob.
Yep.
I got Bob Barker. It's the GOAT. You can't talk about game show hosts without Bob Barker. You're right. We have him flipped.
Yep. Yeah, I got Trebek at number 1. The funniest thing with Trebek is, I mean, like you said, I mean, he barely laughed. He's always got the same look on his face. Like you said, though, he made fun of, he not maybe trying to make fun of him, but made comments if somebody gave just a wild answer. Um, but I like the one, and actually it was on Cheers where uh, um, the mailman was on Jeopardy, Cliff. And the question was name somebody, name or it was about some people, and Cliff's answer was 3 people that were never in my kitchen or something like that in my house. And of course the answer was wrong. And so he's kind of disputed it or whatever. And then the next scene they're at the Cheers bar and Alex Trebek walks in and Cliff goes up to him and starts talking, goes, yeah, it just makes me realize that every answer might not be right. There might be 2 answers. So that's why I'm here. I don't know what to do or stuff like that. But yeah, Alex Trebek definitely, between him and Bob Barker,
Yeah.
you can't talk about those games without them too. So a couple guys you left off.
Bert Convy.
Okay.
Bert Convy I liked. The guy from Joker's Wild. I can't remember his guy's name, but the guy's name, he was another one along the lines of Alex Trebek that made you feel terrible if you got something wrong. I can't remember for the life of me, but he's funny. Ray Combs. I don't know how I missed Ray Combs. I didn't miss him. It was the fact that I liked him. I liked Richard Karn too. But yeah, I missed a couple. Nothing. But my list is a pretty good list, I think.
Yeah, I think we all did. I didn't put, some people might watch this and be like, what do you mean? You didn't put Steve Harvey up there. Well, Steve Harvey still new. Jack Barry was a host of Joker's Royal. Yeah. So, but yeah, I think our lists are pretty solid. I think a lot of people won't dispute, maybe ranking wise. So, all right. So this one's a fun one for me because I watch a lot of these clips and laugh every time. Hopefully we can we'll squeeze all 10 in no matter what. But
that answers my question.
Family Feud, funniest answers to the questions. I know there's gonna be a lot I left off. I left off a couple of Richard Dawson ones that I thought were hilarious, but to me I went with a lot of, matter of fact, all mine are from Steve Harvey. So if you did write the question down, let's go question with the answer. If not,
Oh no, I wrote the question down.
All right. So give me your number 10.
I still can't believe this one. Name something that follows the word pork. Okay, I understand that. But to come up with cupine
was awesome.
I saw that and I literally my mouth was open. He says pork and he said cupine and I'm like, how can you argue with that? It's not wrong. It's just not spelled the same. Are you crazy?
No, that is honestly that is there. I'll say right now it's my number 7. So just in case I can't explain it, but no, I watch that one all the time and I still laugh. My number 10, name a suit not appropriate for work. And the guy buzzes in and he says chicken noodle soup. And then, of course, Steve Harvey is dumbfounded and he goes to read. Starts reading the question again. The guy's like, oh, you said suit, not suit. Yeah. So, yeah, chicken noodle soup. Don't wear it at work. You're number 9.
I'm almost afraid to say this one. I really am because I think this might actually be. I can't remember if this is a Richard Dawson one or not.
Okay.
Which is scary because it made TV. Tell me a part of the body that begins with the letter T. Just take a couple seconds. Go ahead, take a couple seconds, and remember the show is a PG-13. Yeah, it's probably what you think it is. And the guy said titties. I'm like, are you kidding? That made air? That's the funny thing is that it made air. I'm like, how does that make air? That's the sensor doesn't go off.
Well, there's a lot of things.
There's a couple on there on my list that went, that made air.
Yeah. So my number 9, and again, it's another one I laugh every time, and I can't believe the guy said it. Name the last thing I stuck my finger in. And he said his wife.
I'm not gonna lie, that's my number 3. And that proves my point.
Yeah, but I mean he sat there and thought about it, he looks over right at his wife, he's like, my wife. but the thing is, some of these Steve Harvey's reaction is just priceless on all these. Your number 8.
This one's funny too because I don't know if I'd have thought of this that fast, but I know people that would have said this, so it's not too far off the beaten path. In this bad economy, what might Santa have to do with one of his reindeer?
Oh, I don't. I'll have to watch this one, but what is it?
Eat one.
Ooh.
Not sell it, but eat it. I'm like, yeah, okay. Possible.
Yeah.
It's not on your list. I'll guarantee you that.
No, it's not. No, it's not. My number 8, out of the 7 drawers, describe your wife in bed.
Oh no.
Both guys did not want it. It took them like 2 minutes to decide to, and I think it was the Marine guy who who hit it, and he's like, just to get on board, bashful. And that was like number 7 or number 6 or whatever. And the other guy had a chance to steal, and he just sat there. He's just like, well, I'm not saying nothing. So, yeah, that's my number 8. You're at number 7.
This one I know is a Richard Dawson one. Name an animal with letters in its name, and with 3 letters in its name.
Oh, yeah, I know which one you go with.
Name an animal with 3 letters in its name. Alligator. I can count.
Is that the same one too, where he gives like alligator like for 2 different questions?
He says the same. I know it's the same one where I can't remember what he says, but he says the same thing.
Maybe
3 or 4 answers.
I mentioned the old guy, and
it is. It's that guy. Yeah, it's definitely Richard
he's
Dawson.
Laughing when he's giving the answer. Well, that was a classic one. My number 7, of course, was your number 10. Name something that ends in pork. Coupon, classic answer. I don't know how it didn't make the list, but your number 6.
My number 6. A reason why you might stay indoors on a beautiful day.
The person said raining, right?
Yep. Raining. Like, okay, why? But the thing is, it's all the looks on the faces after these people give those type of answers, and you go,
yeah.
And you do it, and actually, after a while, you realize that I think it was Steve Harvey, and I think Steve Harvey just got that dumbfounded look on his face, and he makes it a million times better.
Oh, yeah, exactly. My number 6, and I'm going to try to be politically correct so we don't get censored here. Name something that gets smaller as you get bigger, meaning men.
Oh.
And it was a fast money question. And she went ahead and said, penis. And Steve Harvey just stopped, dropped to his knees, and then after he goes to say it again, she's like, well, I said they're a medical term, and he's like, you could have said anything, it wouldn't have made it any better. and the answer was stomach. And he goes, well, I was in the right area. He goes, well, if your stomach's bigger, you can't see it anyway. So you're number 5, Tim.
If a man walks in on his wife when she's in the bathroom, what would she throw at him?
Ooh.
Now this made the list.
It did.
4 people said this, which makes it even worse. And this was a Steve Harvey one. And the woman and I think it was a man, and he said her poop.
Oh my God!
4 people said that.
Wow!
How did that make the show?
Yeah, I don't know. My number 5. This came on Celebrity Jeopardy, was Jamal White's family, and I can't remember who else he was playing against. Name something that could ruin a kiss. The final answer that they could not get, they had other ones, but the one they couldn't get that everybody struck out on, the first one they flipped over was Booty Tootie. And they're all like, what the heck's that? And Jamal raises his head. He goes, if I'm going to go out a loser, I need to know what a Booty Tootie is. And Steve Harvey's like, we don't know what a Booty Tootie is. Finally, it's something we all can agree on. And somebody in the audience who was like 17 or 18 yells that it's called a fart. Oh. And so, yeah. So they're all just dumbfounded, like, what is a Booty Tootie? So, yeah. All right, you're number 4.
I've got one from the British version.
Okay.
It's short, it's sweet, and it makes you think twice. Name a famous Arthur.
Okay.
Shakespeare. Not famous author, famous Arthur.
Shakespeare. Yeah, it's always fun when there's one word that you don't hear right, and you always
Yeah.
Yeah, my number 4. Name us. This one was hilarious because it's a Steve Harvey one, and the guy laughed when he hit the buzzer. Name a celebrity that has a big mouth and is not afraid to use it. Guy slams on the button and looks at Steve Harvey and laughs. And he's like, Steve Harvey. And I don't think I know if I remember, I don't think Steve Harvey made the list on that one. But he
I
just
don't think he did either.
He glares at him and that's not funny. So you're number 3.
My number 3, I think, is your number 7.
Nope.
No, number 8.
Okay.
No, it's the number not 8. No, okay, I can't remember.
Okay.
But it's the wife one.
Oh, the describe your wife in bed?
No, tell me what was the last thing you stuck your wife? Stuck your finger in.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You said that one. Yeah, number 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
My number 3. This one's hilarious for 2 different reasons. Where is it? Name something that gets passed around. Guy buzzes in a joint. So of course everybody laughs, and the little old lady next to him, she's like, the collection plate at church. And Steve Harvey goes, look at it, she's trying to save it. And the collection plate was under the joint. They both made the list, and so yeah. So check out that clip. That's a funny one. All right, you're number 2.
Name a word or phrase that starts with pot.
Oh.
And the word made the list.
Okay.
Potato.
Porcupine doesn't make the list, but potato does.
Yeah.
All right. Nah, I like that one. This one also, my number 2 was also on Celebrity Jeopardy with football players. Again, another fast money round, or the ending one, the final round. Bruce Smith, I believe, is the one that said this one. And if Captain Hook moonlighted as a handyman, what would he change his hook to? And of course, he said hammer, which was the answer that his partner gave. So they buzzed him, and he goes, penis. And as Steve Harvey is starting to read the second next question, he stops and goes, what the F did he just say? And the whole show just blew up in that. So yeah, that definitely Steve Harvey's right. He made YouTube. So but yeah, that was just out of the blue. All right, you're number 1. Your number Uzi pick.
My Uzi pick is actually from Richard Dawson, which to me is amazing because it came in the final round, like the Bruce Smith one. Name a yellow fruit.
Orange. Yeah, that was a classic one. My all-time favorite. The guy was so excited when he said this answer, buzzed in so quickly, and name something a burglar does not want to see when he breaks into or when he's robbing a house. Guy slams a button and yells it out, "A naked grandma!" And Steve Harvey looks at him. The guy across from him goes, "Yeah, I wouldn't want to see that either." And so Steve Harvey's like, I know you're right. Nobody wants to see that, but what's the chances that somebody says a person or a naked grandma? So they're like, "Oh, I'll see it," and it pops up like the number 2 answer, occupants. And Steve Harvey looks at the camera and goes, "Really? That's what we're going with?" Okay. But if you haven't seen that clip, that is hilarious. What are some other ones you left out? I mean, there's tons. We could be here.
Oh, there's tons. We could have did a week full of episodes of these because they were just funny. There was one, and I'm not going to give the answer to this question. I keep remembering, for some reason, where do you touch a woman to get her in the mood? And I'm like, okay, I'm like, it's like the front lower part or
yeah. They want to be more specific. Yeah.
I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like, oh, are you how? And that made air too, and I don't know how in the world that makes air. I just don't.
There was one. I wanted to say the family was Hispanic descent or whatever. Name another word for mom. And the lady said mommy. And then it was already up there. Steve's like, "Yep, okay. How about something else?" And she's like, "Mommy," and kept saying different things, and he's trying to get her to look at the board, and she's just like, "I don't get what's so funny," and everybody's just laughing because it's already on the board.
But the Snoop
Another
Dogg
one. What's that?
the Snoop Dogg. Did you ever see the episode where Snoop was on and his
Oh, yeah.
family was on? And the what was it? If you found Grandpa with a joint, what would you do with it? And it was like, and I think it was his grandma, and said, "Turn him in."
If Grandma caught Grandpa smoking, what would
Smoking a joint, what
he
would
do?
you turn him in? I'm like,
Yeah.
and Snoop's the look on Snoop's face is more priceless than Steve's, and I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. So Snoop said his didn't even make the top answers, I don't think.
Yeah.
And then it was wasn't it against wasn't it against Sugar Ray Leonard?
Yeah.
And his made the answer, but another one with Snoop was in the final round. Uh Pie in the what? And you had to fill in the blank. And he said um pie in the horse or something like that. And yeah, and Steve Harvey goes, "You had to have been high to say this answer." And yeah, but there was another Richard Dawson one too that was also fast money or final one. Name a time during a woman's pregnancy that she's showing or something.
Yeah, I
And the
passed this
lady
one
said
up.
September. And Richard Dawson could not stop laughing.
That was one that I passed up. I'm like, that's what I left off, and I'm like, okay, that's
No, he could not stop laughing to save his life on that one. I mean, there's other ones, Steve Harvey always got the one I like is name something guys do so they can have sex or something like that. Or what guys would give up to have sex or something. And of course the guys are giving all the guy answers, they get the girls' answers, they're like, do the dishes, do the laundry. And of course they're buzzing out on it. And so they go the one family that had control loses it, so they go over to the other one. And the guy goes, I don't do this, but this is what they said. And then he says, cry. And Steve Harvey's like, are you serious? Like, you didn't let the girls enhance your answer here. Of course, that wasn't on there, but yeah, there's Steve Harvey has some good ones. Rich Dawson has it, but that one that you said, name a animal that has 3 letters, alligator. And it's just like, what?
And then he proceeds to shoot himself in the foot like three
Oh,
questions.
yeah.
The next 3 questions, and I'm like,
the best now is like when they get to a sexual question and the kid's like 18 or 19, and Steve Harvey is like trying not to ask the question because of the age. Because of the kid.
Have you heard that one of the kids that were on one of the Steve Harvey's Family Feud shows actually is now playing Major League Baseball?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, he got drafted, and I think he might have got drafted by the Pirates.
Actually, yeah. You know what? I do think if I remember right, I think Steve Harvey did make a statement on that prior to one of his shows. I believe, now that you said it, I think I do recall. But I also like too, there was another one too that I didn't want to use, and I'm not going to say the answer. Name something women chew or swallow, I think it was, or chew. And of course, he starts walking over to the guest, and he stops and turns around, and he's like, "Okay, you guys know when you guys get to somewhere, you know the answer." And Steve Harvey tells the woman, she goes, "Please make sure this is a family show. We want to last long, so be polite with your answer." And I might have to say the answer because it makes it more funny. But she's like, "I'm a pastor's, daughter, and I'm going to say it. I'm not afraid to say it." And she's like, "They're come," and Steve Harvey's just like shaking his head, and but
the other one that I remember, and it's pretty obvious when you hear the question. If you're an octopus, you had 8 arms. or if you were an octopus, what would you do for a man if you had 8 arms?
Yeah.
And I'm like, how did that question get to air first?
Yeah.
And then she just comes right out and says what everybody right now,
Oh, yeah.
all of our viewers are thinking, because she
Yep.
come right out and said it, and I'm like, are you kidding me? How did that come to air?
Yeah. I definitely like the ones that go back to Steve Harvey as the question. Like there was one in their name body parts, something with Steve Harvey, and somebody said lips. His big lips or something. And Steve Harvey gets like offensive. I know he wasn't, but he's like, if that's up there, I'm tearing down the sand and it better not be up there. And but no, definitely Family Feud is definitely one to if you're having a bad day, watch clips of Family Feud. It'll change your day right around.
Yeah, YouTube it. Yeah, just YouTube it.
Yeah. All right, Tim. So we're past that hour mark. We made it. Another episode. So what you got going on?
I've got nothing. I'm trying to get healthy so we can have our
Yeah, me
show
too.
this week. Where I feel like I was you yesterday. Where
Oh my God,
I got a whopping 2 hours of sleep last night and found a way to get 4
that's about
today.
what I got the night before.
But no, I've got nothing going on. We got playoffs this weekend.
Yep.
So yeah, thanks everybody for watching. If you guys got any ideas, put
Yep.
them in the comments or message us completely, because we take all kinds of suggestions. Try to keep them PG. Try to keep them PG, because holy smokes, because we could be in trouble with everybody.
Yep.
But thanks for watching.
Yep. Nope. Keep checking out C2C all week long. We got stuff going on. Oregon Cougars football. We got something going on tonight with them. The meet and greet with them. So check out the women's professional football Oregon Cougars with our own J Mac. He'll be there live, get some interviews and stuff. So check that out. I believe that's 9:00 Eastern time. So it'll be about 11:00 Pacific time or Central time. Check out Morning Tailgate. Yeah, Tim said it. Playoffs start this Saturday. We'll have our we'll have our predictions on Sunday. We'll have our awards. We're gonna give out our awards. Tim gives out his first UC awards. So but definitely check that out. And then of course all the other great shows we have following. Also tonight we'll have Sports Minute. So with that being and the Mojo Show. Let me not forget that the Mojo Show. So with that being said, thank you, Tim, for joining again, and see y'all next week for another episode of C2C Rank'em. Have a good night.